Let's see here. All right, who's with me at Megan's iPhone?
Oh, that's me.
Who's me?
Miranda's sister-in-law.
Oh, hi, Miranda's sister. How are you, Miss Megan?
Hi. I'm good. How are you doing?
Good. Thank you for joining us.
Absolutely. I was excited about this.
I'm excited to have you on board. Okay, Mr. Gilmore, you there? See Alicia.
Hello.
Hello. Hello, Miss
Hi.
Audrey. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Good. Glad you all could join us.
Oh, yes. This is so cool.
Okay. I'm gonna just mute back everybody. And then you can. Are you able to unmute yourself, Aubrey? I'm gonna just mute you for a second. Let me know if you can unmute yourself. Okay.
Oh, I can. Yeah.
Okay,
Sweet.
great. All right. So what I'll do is I'll just leave everybody unmuted for now, and then if I get any other noise, I'll just mute people from that point on.
This is so cool.
Okay. Sorry it's taking so long. Just everybody. Mr. Matthews, welcome aboard, sir.
Hi, we're doing a dinner and a show here.
Aw.
Say hi. Hi. Hi, buddy. Hi.
So cute. My heart.
All right. Well, folks, thanks again for joining us for this what we're trying to do with technology, with the world's best, most natural medicine. So right now, I'm also trying to get our live stream going while we're bringing people in. So just be patient with me for a moment. All right. Let's see here. So it looks like the live stream should be working here shortly. We're going to go ahead and start our show for all those people that are in so far with us. So again, thank you all for being here. We have a lot of wonderful performers with us, and all for a great cause. A lot of people are donating their time and efforts just to bring some smiles to some faces. As for you healthcare workers, we really, really, really appreciate what you all are doing and being out there in the front lines. And I've always thought you all are very special because a lot of people will do things for money and greed, power, fame, and whatnot. And yet you all are passionate and you go out there and you do this, because you want to, because it's in your heart, because, let's be honest, there's not any part in your career to where you're probably going to get drafted, get an agent, get a 3-year, $65 million contract at Mercy U. So, we really appreciate that. What you're doing is from the heart and for the hearts. That being said, and without further delay, I'm going to go ahead and bring up our first entertainer. This is Miss Nancy Norton. Now, a little bit about Miss Nancy Norton. She's basically she's known for performing her uniquely funny shows with her Universal Truths. She is a former nurse, so she knows a lot about healthcare and the benefits of comedy. She's the first woman ever to win the Boston Comedy Fest, and she also won the Seattle Comedy Competition, which was a multi-week affair. So she's wonderfully brilliant. Oh, I'm sorry. Wait, I'm bringing up Al first. Oh, sorry, Nancy. You're going to have to wait for a second. I'm bringing up Al. Al, I'm so sorry. Again, I'm not a host.
In the
But
same.
Al is Al is, to make this known, Al is just a great human, a great man, a great dad. You've seen him on Laughs on Fox, and also possibly on Dry Bar Comedy. And so, without further ado, so he can go pick up his son in Boulder as soon as he's done doling out the medicine, Mr. Al Goodwin. All right, Mr. Al.
Hello. I'm sorry if I appear fat. The camera adds 10 pounds, and the quarantine added another 20. So but I'm doing my part in fattening the curve. I meant curving the flat. You know what I meant. I'm fat. They say that one of the only ways we're going to get out of this whole predicament is something called herd immunity, and that's where you get the virus and then you're immune to it, and everybody else in your herd. I think they call it herd immunity because I'm going to look like a buffalo by the time I get to leave my house. I was watching the news today, and I saw that the rate of spousal abuse has gone way up, and that's kind of disheartening. My wife and I, we get along great. The only thing we do is I try to make her laugh, and then she tries to make me laugh, and so we're kind of caught in this abusive relationship. But there's no violence. I also saw today that Obama endorsed Biden for the Democratic ticket. I saw that, and I think that Biden will massage the economy back, or the economy's back, and maybe sniff the economy's hair. I have no idea, but that's because I have ADD. And so do. The fun doesn't end there. So do both my kids. They both have ADD, and and my wife hates all of us. There are pluses and minuses to ADD. Here's one of the pluses: a lot of guys get yelled at when their wife realizes they zoned out of the conversation. I don't get yelled at. All I get is, "Did you take your pill today?" And I always say, "Nope, I forgot. I'm gonna go do that right now." And then I just never come back because we're good at problem solving like that. Here's a good example of problem solving. My wife wanted an in-ground pool in her backyard. I called a construction company to get an estimate. They said $1,200 just to dig the hole, does not include concrete. And so I'm like, $1,200 for a hole? I'll do the hole myself. And I put an ad on Craigslist for free dirt. And then when people showed up, I just gave them a shovel and I said, you can have everything inside those orange lines. You can have 12 feet of dirt from this side, but only 3.5 feet of dirt from that side, and leave a stair pattern on the 3.5 foot side. There are downsides to ADD though. It's not all fun and games. Last year, my wife and I went on our second honeymoon to a little exotic island. We went to New Orleans, Louisiana. And if you have ADD, don't go to Mardi Gras for your second honeymoon. Bad call. Lots of distractions at Mardi Gras. Just big ones, little ones, perky ones, they're everywhere. Distractions. My wife said, you look like a kid in the candy store. And I said, I am married, okay? I am a kid with diabetes in a candy store. And then she was like, I don't have to worry about you because you're my soulmate. And I said, definitely. And then she's like, why did you say definitely weird and fast like that with your finger? And I was like, because when you're at the sink, I'm at the toilet, baby. And then she was like, what does that have to do with anything? And I was like, what are you talking about? She's like, what does it mean if you're at the sink, I'm at the toilet? How does that make me your soulmate? And I was like, oh, I thought you said cellmate. We're at Mardi Gras, and I'm not focused on this conversation right now. I'm going to go take another one of my pills. I'll be right back. I gotta thank Nancy for laughing at these jokes. She's heard them a zillion times. I love her for that.
I love you.
Anyways, when you have ADD, you say things without thinking. That gets you in trouble. The other day, my wife, and you're just trying to be funny. That's the thing. I'm always trying to be funny, but it gets me in trouble. My wife the other day walks into the family room scratching herself, and she's like, "Why am I so itchy?" And I said, "I think it's because you're pronouncing it with a silent B." And and I don't know why you're so itchy all the time. Turns out I should have just said dry skin, everybody. So there you go. I don't even just have ADD. I also have dyslexia because God was like, give him something else. And dyslexia is more than number letter confusion. You overthink words. A good example is antioxidant. Everybody knows antioxidants are good for us, right? But if you think about it, anti is a prefix, and anti means opposite of whatever word comes after it. So if antioxidants are good for us, that means normal oxidants are fill in the blank, studio audience.
Oh,
no.
Bad?
Bad for us, right. So they are too, because my mom said that I was an oxidant, and that's how I know that they're bad for us. So I don't like it when people know I'm sick. So I always try to hide it. And if I ever get coronavirus, I'm gonna hide it. I'm gonna figure out contingency plans. That's what I do. I figure out contingency plans so nobody knows that I'm sick. Like if I ever get diagnosed with narcolepsy, I'm just gonna get a tattoo of my eyelids or my eyes on my eyelids, and then when I fall asleep, no one will know that I'm asleep. And then when I wake up, I'll just say, got it. Or if I ever get diagnosed with Parkinson's, I'm just going to carry a Splenda packet with me wherever I go. And then no one will know that I have Parkinson's. They'll just be like, why does he still have that Splenda packet? He's had that for 2 years. He should rip the top and check it. I'll bet you all the Splenda's at the bottom by now. All right. I'm just trying to see how many people are on this bus ride to hell with me. And it seems like I have 3 passengers. Okay. Let's see. I'll leave you with this. I'm a big fan of rock and roll. I know all the one-hit wonder bands. I know trends about rock and roll that nobody else knows. Like, here's a trend I'll bet you didn't know. The best bands in the history of rock and roll tended to begin with the word "the" in their name. Like the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, the Who, the Doors, the Police, the White Stripes, the Black Keys, the Red Hot Chili Peppers, the Cars, the Kinks, the Vines, the Highs, the Clash, the Fix, the Jimi Hendrix Experience, the Allman Brothers, the Grateful Dead. There are tons of them. Then I noticed that the worst bands in the history of rock and roll tended to begin with the word Nickelback. And if you listen to Nickelback on noise-canceling headphones, you don't hear anything. All right, guys. That's been my set.
yay!
Short and
All
sweet.
right. Yay. Thanks, Red.
Thanks for having
Thank
me.
you.
Thank
You got
you.
it.
Thanks, Al.
Yep.
Thank you. Let's see here. Why can I not start my video? Well, that's okay. You don't need to see my face. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yeah.
I can hear you.
That's it. All right. Thank you, Mr. Goodwin. Safe travels up to
Yay, Alan!
make snowballs.
Thank you,
Right up
guys.
there. And tell John, physically hi, but from 6
Yeah,
feet.
see you in Boulder.
That's right. He's got it. John's got a gang up there. Beware. The hippie man's Nancy is up next. Mixed Nancy Norton, like I was saying earlier, is known for performing her uniquely funny shows with universal truths through her intuitive, definitely high energy, fast-paced, engaging style. You are very engaging, Miss Norton. So being a registered nurse, she is also hilarious content that may leave you in stitches. This is the first woman ever to win the Boston Comedy Fest. And again, it was the Seattle Comedy Competition that took you several weeks. And it was awesome. And you're a champ. And again, thanks for being a champ and being here. So ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, Miss Nancy Norton.
Yeah! Can you hear my sound effects? Okay, maybe not. Okay. Hi. Hey, everybody. I am a nurse. I'm coming to you live from my garage studio that I built the other day. Don't look behind here. There's a very scared inner child and a very messy workbench. I am a nurse, and as you may have noticed, I have not clocked in for a while. I'm sorry. I want to give it a shout out to all the nurses. Give it up for all the nurses, everybody. Clap with your computers. Woo!
Yay.
Thank you, Miranda, and all your nurse friends for taking taking the big risk of doing healthcare right now. I have not clocked in, and if I do, you'll know the shit is really bad. Okay, because I got out of nursing for the same reason a lot of you got into it, to save lives. Thank you, folks. I'm doing my part. I should never have been a nurse. I was tricked into it by my mother, who is a nurse. I come from 5 generations of nurses, which I call 5 generations of codependence. And I have no idea what I'm feeling right now. I hope you're okay. This is really hard for a codependent to do this medium because I have your feelings for you, and now I don't know how to do that. So you are just a computer to me at this point. But I just want you to know, my mom didn't force me into it. She manipulated me through gifts and toys. Like a good codependent, she tricked me by giving me things, like other girls got dolls that wept, dolls that cried. I had a doll that choked. She was the Heidi Heimlich maneuver doll. Chicken bone sold separately. Be prepared. If you get one of those, make sure Christmas Eve you go out and get the chicken bone. This is it's very hard to play with her. Or maybe with Resuscita Annie would be funnier, Miranda. Which is funnier, Heidi Heimlich maneuver or Resuscita Annie?
I think I like the Heidi Heimlich.
Heidi Heimlich maneuver. Pull her little string. Hi, my name's Heidi. Gee, this chicken is delicious. Chicken bone goes flying. Anyway, a lot of my dolls drifted towards that little dolly white light, which turns out is the light from the Easy Bake Oven. Who left that on? That's what I'm using right now for so many years. Toenail trimming is what I was thinking I could do. Because who's trimming the toenails out there for those people that can't reach their toenails? Nobody. That's low priority. That's low triage during the COVID crisis. So I will go door to door around Boulder Valley and trim toenails if you guys give me addresses. I will not go into your home for safety. So you have to have a cat and a cat door. You have to have a cat door. You stick your foot out the cat door. Pretend this is a foot. You stick your foot out the cat door and I will trim your nails and heal your heels. That's just one idea I had. Another idea, I'm coming up with some inventions for COVID. You've heard of the close-up toothpaste. Well, I have social distancing toothpaste that we use at my house. It is garlic and morning breath flavored. It's called, I decided I better edit this. Back the heck up. I'll say heck for the home viewer. So nursing, I just want to thank you guys. I did it for many years. I worked as a nurse and like I said, not a good one. I don't know if you've ever run down a hallway with a big syringe of morphine and just fallen on it, but that, will get you written up. I did that a couple times. It's kind of a weird day. All your call lights are on and you just think it's pretty. It looks like Christmas. Ding. Oh, did you hear that? Another angel got his wings because of me. Anyway, I didn't really do that. I dedicate to my friend Linda, who was taking the morphine on her shift. But I will say, I don't want to out Linda, but it's a true story. And I really do. I'm worried about the opioid addiction. It's really a high problem. And stay off the opioids, kids, if you can, because they're so addictive and they stop working on pain, but they keep you on them. I have some personal experience. I just had to have reconstructive surgery for skin cancer this summer. They took a piece of my cheek and put it on my nose and gave me some Percocet, which is an opioid. And I said to myself, what could go right? So I took it. I took the Percocet and here's the idea I had about controlling the opioid addiction. What if instead of controlling the opioids, we just control the stool softeners? No, not going to. I just wanted to bring that up at the meeting, Miranda. Seriously, if anyone's ever tried any of the opioids, I'm not kidding you. I'm a nurse and It was paralyzing. The constipation. I was, I needed a birth partner. I was crying and no tears would come out. Anyway, just saying, it's not worth it. It's not worth it, kids. Stay off the opioids. I'm here for you. Oh, Nurse Nancy in the rehab program. No stool softeners. This is getting awkward. Is it for you guys? Oh, let's see. In closing, well, you know what? Does anybody have any questions or anything they want to bring up at the meeting for old Nurse Nancy that I could answer for you? Nope. Okay, back to me. I got it. I got this. I got this, you guys. Oh, man. Well, anyway, here's the reason I got out of nursing. It's because it's all about them. That's the big reason. Look at what I'm doing. We're all in this narcissistic environment right now. I need attention from strangers. And in healthcare, it's all about them, right? My arm is broken. My chest is hurting. My cervix is dilating. Me. And that's just the doctors. That's my closer. Let me give myself applause. Can you hear my applause? All right.
All right. Great job, Nancy. That was great. Loved it.
Thank you.
That's good stuff. Thank you, Miss Norton.
Any last questions? Last chance. Nope.
All right. Well, thank you ever so much, Mix Nancy Norton. You're awesome. Yeah.
Well, let's explain that real quick. So Madison is super formal. When he calls or emails or texts me, he says, Miss Norton. And so I call him Mr. Carter. And then I realize, look at me. You guys, come on, look at me, please. Do I look like a miss? I'm just saying. So I looked up the non-binary gender neutral prefixes and I found mix, MX. So that's my new prefix, kids, Mix Norton. I am, as many of you know, I am not a lesbian. I retired from lesbianism. However, I'm never going to stop talking. All right, I'll quit. Oh, I'm going to close with this. Wait, one last thing. I just want to share this. I am no longer an L. I got kicked out of the L. I was fired as a lesbian. But I am a B. No, I'm not a B. I'm not quite a bisexual. I'm a P. I'm a pisexual. I have sex every 3.1415 years.
Boom. Mix Nancy. Love it.
Mix.
Oh, you're awesome. Thank you ever so much. Well, folks, coming up next is a familiar face to the LaughCure organization. Not that Nancy and Mr. Goodwin aren't, but John's been with us every step of the way. He's helped to recruit a lot of the artists and whatnot to help with our mission. John you might have seen him on the Late Show with Craig Ferguson, back when Mr. Craig Ferguson was ruling the airways. You can also, there's a link to John's website at our LaughCure page, which you all probably should have. And you can find on John's page, you can see his bio, any merch that he might have. So please be sure to support him that way. Plus, John's got a live Facebook stream that's taking place, I believe, 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, if I'm not mistaken. And so without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, the famous, legendary master of comedy, Mr. John Novosad.
All right. Thank you very much, everybody. I'm so happy to be here tonight. And I just want to start off with a question because I watched Nancy's set. And I want to ask you guys, do I look like a miss? I don't think I do, but that's just me. That was a joke that I just made up right there on the spot. But I'll tell you, I do a lot of shows, or I did a lot of shows, and this woman was sitting in the front row, like March 10th, I did a show, and she asked if my hair was natural, and I'm like, where would you go to get your hair done like this? And then she said, PetSmart, and that stung a little bit, I'm not gonna lie, but she was right. So I've been going back to PetSmart every 6 to 8 weeks. And luckily they have a curbside service now. But I'll tell you, that flea bath is a bitch. So thank you, Nancy. Thank you. I've got a lot of time to kill during the day. We all do, you know. So I started making my own fun. Like I do the weather door to door. I just knock on someone's door. And then if they answer, I'm like, hey, it's pretty cold out here today. I'll be back with the headlines at the top of the hour. And I have to tell you, not too many people are answering their doors these days, but I still wanted to do that joke. So, and I like to watch the Weather Channel. I've got time to watch the Weather Channel now, and I like to watch it. People make fun of people watching the Weather Channel. I watch the Weather Channel, and I like to drink when I watch the Weather Channel, you know. I have a couple of cocktails, and then you're watching that color radar, and you're like, damn, a green blob's attacking Idaho. I'm not going to buy any more potatoes for a while. That joke really does well in Boise live streams. I'll tell you that. People in Boise love that joke. There's plenty of things that you can do. To help the environment is what I'm trying to say here. I believe in global warming. And I think there are things that you can do to help the environment. Like, for instance, I'm a bus rider. I don't think that comes as a real shock. I mean, get a good look at me. I don't think you're looking at me like, I'll bet this guy can drive the hell out of a car. I'm not good behind the wheel. So this happened to me at a bus stop in Colorado, you know, and I am from Colorado, but I don't ski because I'm already sliding downhill in so many other areas of my life. But, I keep the poles because they're handy for picking up trash. And I'm building up some community service for when this thing's all over. I want to have some community service in the bank. So, but this happened to me at a bus stop. I like making gestures. Community service in the bank. But this happened to me in Colorado at a bus stop. And it was 8 o'clock at night. It was dark out. I'm going to make a dramatic entrance, right? I walked up to the bus stop like you normally would. I'm going to ride the bus. And there was this woman there, and I startled her. And she says to me, "Are you all right? Do you have somewhere to go?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that's why I'm at a bus stop. I'm going places." That's where the laugh usually goes, but that's okay. So, but I ride the bus, you guys, and there are weird people on the bus. And again, I know you're all looking at me like, yeah, no kidding, man. But I'm not the weirdo on the bus. That's the beauty of my look. Everybody's looking at me, and I'm like, you should be looking at that guy over there, you know? That's where the trouble is. So I'm riding the bus. It's late at night. It's like 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm coming back from a show. I'm riding this bus. This guy steps up on a rolling bus and asks me for $1. And first of all, if you're asking me for money, I am going to question your analytical skills, you know? No offense to me, but I do not look like a high roller. I look like I'm rolling high. So, wow, did you guys just hear a bell? I think I'm supposed to take a pill. I don't know. So, but anyway, the guy asked me for $1. I try to be polite. I'm like, "I'm sorry, sir. I don't have $1. And he starts talking tough to me, you know? He's like, "Hey, man, why don't we take our shoes off and do a little boxing?" And I'm like, "Well, that seems like a weird request, but all right." And as he was taking his shoes off, I beat the heck out of him, you know? I was like, "Hey, you're the one who wanted to fight me over $1, pal." All right, thank you. I'm on a roll now. I'm just going to keep going now. Next up, about helping the environment. I'm still on this environmental kick, you know? Recycling is really important, you guys. And I recycle. And now, you know, in the stay-at-home order, I try to make the most use of time. So I do it all at once. I do all my recycling at once. I melt down plastic, tin, and aluminum all into one super compound that I call plastinium. And so far, all I've made is a knife out of it. But I'll tell you this, nobody's giving me any trouble on the bus anymore. You know, I'm like, "Hey, man, how about some plastinium?" And boom, you know, and I found you always have to raise your hand up like this. This is a little knife fighting tip from me to you. Raise your hand up there like that. When they're looking up there, bam, you know. You don't have to stab that high, but I just had to for the picture purpose. So it's a little knife fighting tip. You never know. But here's the thing about being, and I'm a vegetarian, you know, that helps the environment, being a vegetarian. And I'm not a vegan. I am lacto-ovo, which makes it sound like I want to be spanked by a large German woman. And I do, but that's not what it means. So I don't know if there's any large German women who want to get together after the stay-at-home order is over, but contact me. So, and here's the thing. People ask this question about being a vegetarian. They ask me this all the time. Where are you getting your protein from? And I'm sure there's some healthcare professionals here who know about diet and stuff. And I think that's a rude question to ask somebody. Where are you getting your protein from? I don't go up to people that I've just met or known for a while and go, hey, before you leave, where are you getting your minerals from? I just figure you're getting them. You know, I'm like, good for you. You're getting your minerals. Keep up the good work. There's another hand gesture for you that I threw in there just for the heck of it. So, but yeah, that seems weird. And here's the other thing my friends always do. And I want to take a look at the old comedy clock here. Good, we're making good time. But here's the other thing that people always ask me about being a vegetarian. They come up with these wild hypothetical situations. Like, what if you were trapped in the mountains in a blizzard and you fought your way into a cabin and all that was in the freezer was venison? Would you eat meat? And I'm like, yeah, I'd eat meat because I'm a vegetarian, not an idiot. You know, I mean, hey, we're trapped in a blizzard. I would eat you if it came down to it. I just happen to have a plastinium knife here. It's like, so, all right. I'm going to go here in just a minute, but I also want to say thank you so much to all the healthcare workers. My heart goes out to you guys. I cannot tell you how much I appreciate what you do for us. And you know, a lot of comics sell merch. I'm doing a merch pitch right at the end here. I am selling this. It's a box of, I don't know if you can see that, but it's a box of the Sicchio Penne Rigate number 41. I'm selling that. And Penne Rigate number 41 is also my favorite sonata from Mozart. So really has something inside me that makes me happy. Thank you all so much, and please enjoy the rest. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Sure, thank you.
Thank you, John. And we got our live stream up and working too. So that's good on YouTube. So Mr. Novosad, thank you ever so much. We greatly appreciate that. Ladies and gentlemen, our last guest of today, and I'm a big fan. Look, I'm even wearing his shirt. I don't know if he can remember me getting this shirt from him personally when he was in town at Comedy Works. But ladies and gentlemen, from Nashville, Tennessee, you've seen him on all kinds of the late night shows recently. Most recently, it was Lights Out with David Spade. He's also been doing the. Can everybody hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. I just saw a frozen screen. I wasn't sure if that was mine or not. So Dusty's also been on Late Night with Kimmel and Fallon. I'm pretty sure, Dusty, you've done Conan, I believe. Correct already, right? Possibly.
All right, look at that. I have not done Conan, but I
not
did.
done Conan. Okay,
Kimmel
that's what I was wondering because I hadn't seen
Fallon. I did Fallon, Tonight Show.
Fallon, okay.
But no Conan. He didn't have me on. So
we'll definitely, we need to ringo Jessica's bell and see what her holdup is. But ladies and gentlemen, this is Dusty Slay. Everybody, Dusty Slay.
All right. Hey, thank you. Thank you. They did send me all the proper information, and I realized after seeing everybody else's setup that I maybe didn't read it. And I'm coming in like I'm doing a podcast, and we're doing stand-up comedy here. But I feel great. This is not what I do. I do comedy. So, I mean, this is comedy. I know but I normally stand up in front of people, and then, you know, I can gauge it. You know, I'm telling a joke, people are laughing, and then I'm going, okay, what I'm doing is working. Or if they're not laughing, I know to switch gears, you know, maybe change it up. But when your audience is, you know, visibly 3 people and then a half a head, it's difficult to really gauge, you know, how people are really receiving it. But you know what? We're going to have a good time. I like to tell people we're having a good time. You know, I don't like to ask. A lot of comics will come out and they'll go, are we having a good time? Not me. I can't risk it. That's an incredible joke when it happens on stage. Believe me. But I like to small talk people. That's the hardest thing about what's going on right now. It's all right. We got a whole face in here now. And then that's what's hard, now is like, I love small talk. I think I have small talk Tourette's, you know what I mean? Like I have to do it. If I see people, I got to say something to them, and then like and I love to talk about the weather, like if I go out and it's cold outside, I'll have to say out loud, I'll have to go, dang, it's cold, right? I can't think it. I have to say that out loud. And then if there's somebody around me, I'll look at them and I'll try to make eye contact with that person. And I'll be like, it's cold out here, huh? And if they're into it, we'll talk about the weather for a while. I'll show them, I'll tell them about other places I've been to. I'm like, you know what? It's cold here. Last week I was in Arizona. Guess what? It was hot. And then I'll show them a screenshot from my phone where it was hot. And then how would you believe that? And so that's how I do it. I also like to pay bills on the phone. I like to call people, I like it old school. I like to call them up. I want to have a conversation about it. I'd say, hey, I'd like to give you some money. Let's talk about it. If I got to give you money, the least that you can do for me is talk to me for a second. So I like to talk to them. And then when you get to the end of the bill process, they'll go, I have a confirmation code for you. And I always like them to think I'm writing that number down, so I go, let me get a pen. And then I'll shuffle some things and then I'll go, okay, I got it. And then they read it and I read it back to them like I'm writing it down. Never wrote it down. I never write it down because I just don't want them to think that I'm not writing it down. I don't want them to challenge me. They could go, all right, repeat it back to me. And then I won't know. And then they'll go, you haven't paid, that I lost steam at the end of that joke. And, I realized that I blanked out a bit, but sometimes if it's a new joke, I'm realizing some of the logic and the error of the joke as it's going along. And then it trips me up and I don't like that. But the point is I want them to think I'm writing that thing down, right? I don't want their boss to come to them later and find some discrepancies and go, let's call a couple of people. And they go, what about this Dusty Slay guy? I want that operator to go, oh no, he wrote the confirmation code down. You don't want to challenge him. He's the kind of guy that writes it down. But what if I was the kind of person? Imagine the kind of person that's writing all the confirmation codes down. They got a little notebook, all the confirmation codes from when they paid bills. Imagine what that person looks like in your mind. Think of them. It's not me, right? You're not seeing that with me. You're not saying, I bet that guy has got a black book of confirmation codes written down. Okay. See, I can get weird. The thing about me with comedy is what keeps me on track is the audience laughing or not laughing. If you let me just run with it, I can get weird with it. A lot of companies, they want you to do auto pay. They want you to just link up your bank account so they can just go ahead and just take it themselves whenever they want. They go, oh, Dusty's got a bill due. Let's just reach into his account, pull the money out, right? If I let you into my bank account, what's next? Now you're going to my employer. You got a little deal worked out with him. Each week, my check's coming in. You're just taking your money right out of there. I can't stop it, right? It starts with the account, and then it goes, now you and your boss have a friendship. You can't drop Comcast because he's buddies with your boss. Now you got no leverage. They've formed a friendship based around you. I don't like that. Let me pay the bill. You want money from me? Let me give you a call. We'll talk. I'll write down the confirmation code, and we'll settle it out. My power went out recently, and it was, it was storming real bad. And my wife was home, and she called me, and she was like, the power's out. And I was like, well, I bet it's that storm knocked out that power. Turns out power went out because I didn't pay the bill, right? I wasn't on top of it. Storm was a coincidence. It's like the power company was playing games. They were like, wait till the lightning strikes, cut the power. He won't know what hit him. We didn't know. We lived in an apartment complex. We're walking around looking in people's windows, trying to see if their lights are out, if their lights are on. Nobody's lights are on. We're convinced. We're like, dang, hell of a storm. That storm has come in and cut everybody's power off. My wife wanted me to go ask one of our neighbors, see if their power was out. I didn't do it. because we don't know any of our neighbors. But I imagine it will be something like this. You know, you go knock, you're like, hey, is your power out? Because my power's out. Oh, your power's on. Okay, well, mine's out. So I guess they're cutting out power around here. You know, to me today, you tomorrow. I'm just up here letting you know, right? Now I go to this guy with all my problems. You know, I'm like, hey, man, did your car get towed? Right? Because my car got towed. Oh, your car's still out there. Okay, well, they're towing cars. So stay vigilant. I'm like, hey, man, did your wife leave? My wife left. Oh, your wife's still there. Okay, well, they're leaving. So, like, hey, man, you been crying a lot? Yeah, I've been crying a lot. My wife's gone. Car got towed. Power's out. Hell of a storm. That's a good joke when it's done live.
That's
That is
great.
really a good joke.
It's brilliant.
But this is what happened, though, right? This is what happened. The power company, they talked me into going paperless, right? And then they cut my power off. I called them. I was like, why'd you cut my power out? They were like, you didn't pay your bill. I was like, I didn't get a bill. They were like, yeah, you agreed to not get a bill. I was like, listen, you asked me, did I want to get a bill? And I told you no. I don't get the problem here. I don't understand what happened. You told me it would be cheaper. I thought, well, this is significantly cheaper. No bill at all. I wish you'd told me about this deal from the beginning. Why we've been messing around with this? I've been paying you when I could have just, I've been paying a lot for that paper that comes to the house. But turns out they just want you to keep track of it. Or just let them come in. Just take a look around. See if you got any money laying around. They might just grab a little bit of it. Oh, we're the power company, AKA the mafia. We're just stopping by to see if you got any little money. We're protecting your lines right now. You pay us or we're cutting them. So we're having a good time. And you ever hear the expression, show me your friends and I'll show you your future? People will say that to you when you're hanging out with a bad crowd. They never say that when you're hanging out with a good crowd, you know? Your parents don't see you hanging out with a bunch of kids in the spelling bees. I don't know what good kids look like, but you know, they don't. I wanted to say people in suits, but that seems weird. But you know, your parents don't see you hanging out with a spelling bee champion and call you over and go, show me your friends and I'll show you your future. It's always when you're hanging out with a kid smoking cigarettes, you know, that's when they want to get it. But what I want to know is if I'm hanging out with all these successful friends and they're supposed to be bringing me up, what are they doing hanging out with me? And am I just bringing them down? Is this working this way? Like, oh, they're hanging out with me. I'm bringing them down a little bit. And they're bringing me up a little bit. And then we just balance each other out. And that's what it's all about. But it's just, you know, that joke never worked on stage. And, but I'm into that joke. You know what else I did? I bought a camera. I tried to sell it online recently. I bought a camera. I bought it for $600. It was not a cheap camera. And I was trying to sell it for $400. I'm not good at flipping things. One time I bought a banjo for $220 and I sold it for a fiddle with no bow for $50. You know what I mean? Selling is not my deal. That's not what I do. And but I posted this camera online and people started asking me questions. They were like, why are you selling it? And I'm like, well, because I don't know how to work it. And then they would say, can you tell me more about it? And I'm like, well, no, I just told you that I don't know anything about it. I don't know how to work this. That's why I'm selling it. And then they would go, and then they would just ghost me. And then some people would say, what's the absolute lowest you'll take for it? I'm like, that's not how this works. You don't just go, what's the lowest you'll take? You make an offer to me. And then we go back and forth a little bit. You don't just come in and go, what's the lowest you'll take? What's that all about? You know, the lowest I'll take is what I've marked here for. And there was another question, but I forgot to write that one down. So that one's gone now. And we're having a good time here. I wanted to have some notes. A lot of times I don't have any idea how long this has been. And I don't know. There was some kids around earlier. I don't do dirty material, but there was some kids around earlier, so I don't know what they're up to now. So I didn't want to, you know, but I feel like that, you know, I've done some drugs And I blame this on the DARE program, right? Because is there kids still around? And I mean, I don't know. But so no one's darting to collect kids. I don't know. But this is why, because the DARE program taught me to be afraid of drugs, all drugs. And then I smoked weed for the first time, and I was like, that's really fun. Let's check out all these others. Maybe this was all lies, right? I mean, I grew up poor, right? I saw this, and they did keep me from doing like other drugs, you know, like that, because I watched this one program, and and they had this girl, she did that drug like one time, and then she was off selling her grandmother's necklaces and stuff to get money for more drugs. And I was like, my grandmother only has Afghans. I don't know what I'm going to get for that. So I better stay away from those drugs. I don't know how much of that you get for an Afghan, you know? I don't know what the Afghans are going for on the I don't know. I forget what it's called. The
streets.
The black market. Yes, the streets. That's a good one too. Oh, also, the town that I grew up in where my dad lived, they had the DARE car was like a Porsche, right? And I was like, wow, that's a cool car. And they were like, yeah, the reason they have that is because they caught a guy selling drugs and they confiscated his car and they turned it into the DARE car. And they did this to show you that if you sell drugs, you could lose everything. And I was thinking, wow, if I sell drugs, I could get a Porsche, you know? Because my dad sells insurance. He drives a Bronco too. This math's not adding up for me. Sure, he lost it, but at least he had it for a while, you know? Okay, that seems fun. And I don't, there's no time. I maybe should have set a timer myself, but there's no time here. And my sister used to raise rats. She had a lot of, we lived in a trailer. I don't know if I've said that. I grew up in a trailer park, and she had a lot of rats that she was selling. She was raising them to sell to people that had snakes, right? So our whole house smelled like rats. And I'm like, what are you making, $10 a week here? You know, your whole house smells like rats for a little cigarette money. Okay. Okay, we're having a good time. And that's not a joke. And let's see. Some of these are real thoughts. I get emotional, and I don't get emotional, but sometimes I do write real things down. You ever see crossing guards out in front of the school? Man, they take their job serious, don't they? They whistle, they wave aggressively. I mean, it would be hard to live in a world where everybody took their jobs as serious as the crossing guards do, right? In my neighborhood, there's a crossing guard. She'll wave me, like it's a 4-way stop, and she'll wave me through. And then I go to stop at the stop sign, because that's what I've been trained to do, is stop at the stop sign. So I'll stop, and she whistles and starts getting real. I'm like, lady, you're not above the law now, right? You're not writing the laws. This is still a stop sign. If I get pulled over later, am I gonna be able to blame you? The cop's like, you didn't stop at that stop sign. I'm like, yeah, but there was a lady in a neon vest waving me through, so I thought it was okay, right? Anybody can get a vest and a whistle. Okay. We've been cooking a little bit now, and you ever see cookbooks for men? Cookbook. They're like chips, cheese, microwave, nachos, you know? I mean, it's like I had a book called A Man, a Can, and a Plan, right? It basically was like, open up this can, put that in a pot, and then turn that stove on. We're having a good time. And I wrote the joke about my sister selling rats down twice. I was in a city one time, and I saw this rat on the street in the daytime, had no tail, right? And I was just watching it. It's like he got a late start on his day, right? It's like he was like, oh no, had a wild night last night, partied a little hard, lost my tail, but I still got some shopping I got to do. I got to get some stuff done. I wasted the night. I should have been out doing these things, but now I got to do it in the daytime with people around. And I'm watching this rat, and then this guy comes up, and he's like, that's a short-tailed rat right there. Like it was a breed. Like he saw me, and he's like, I know this guy's not from around here. Let me go ahead and clear this situation up. And then, yeah, I mean, I just want to know what happened to that rat. What's up with him? What's going on? And, okay. And I like that joke. I told that joke at a place one time, and it got about that reaction. And I tried, this is, a lot of these jokes, I'll tell you, will go better on stage, but some of these have done the best here. This has been the best, most amount of laughter some of these jokes have gotten before. And, but I told that joke and I think people enjoyed it. They just didn't laugh the way I'd like them to. Stories have to have punchlines in order for them to become jokes. If there's no punchline on there, that's just a story that ends with, well, you had to be there. You know what I mean? And you never want your jokes to turn out like that. I like to go to the gym high because when I leave, I feel good. Like people say when you get a workout high, like I just cut the gym. Like they're like, oh, I love working out. I just get such a high from it. I'm like, I can do that without working out. And I feel fine. And, but sometimes it's fun. I don't know if you've ever done that. If you go to a Planet Fitness, get on the treadmill, put some cool music on, preferably a guitar jam where you can get lost in it. Walk on the treadmill for about 20 minutes and then go get in the tanning bed. That's the best. I know that you all work in the medical field. You're not doing drugs, but if you're doing some CBD and we're having a good time. And there's some, all right, well, I shouldn't do that one. And do you I used to sell pesticides for a living. I don't know if you can tell that by looking at me, but I sold pesticides to Lowe's and Home Depot, and people would come in there and they would ask weird questions. They'd be like, I'm looking for something organic. I'd like to kill the insects, but not harm the environment. I'm like, well, how about a shoe? Because I'm selling pesticides and that stuff is poison. I went to this. You ever get stereotyped? I got stereotyped one time, and I went to this restaurant with my wife, and we went up to the host, and I could see over the host's shoulder into the dining room. It was a pretty nice dining room, and I was like, but it was empty. It could have been a warehouse for chairs and tables. And I said to the guy, I was like, we'd like a table for two. And he turns around and looks, and then he goes to look down at his little clipboard, and he says, we can put you at a table outside. And I was like, and I looked, there was a little patio area, and there was 4 community tables, and there was one couple at a community table that looked about like we did. So I said, okay, that's fine. We'll take one of those tables. And he was like, we'll have to put you at the table with those other people. Right. So I was like, you know what? That's okay. So we left. And we were talking and we were complaining that they stereotyped us that we weren't going to spend money. They said they looked at us and they said, they don't have the money to be here. So I was like, I was all mad. I was like, oh, well, we'll take our money somewhere else. And we went to a restaurant and we sat down and they brought the menus to us and we opened it up and immediately we looked at the price and we made eye contact. And we go, you want to get out of here? And so we were stereotyped, but stereotyped correctly. Like that host had a bead on us and he knew what was happening. I almost want to tip that guy for being so good at his job. Like it was insulting to me, but I get it. Sometimes you see riffraff coming and you're like, that's not for us here at this restaurant. And I get it. And, but all right, this would be the last thing. Like I say, I don't know how long this has been going on, but no one said stop, but I can't tell if people are tired of this or not. I don't know if people are like, listen, we're only obligated to do this for an hour. So if you could go ahead and wrap this up. I don't know what people are thinking, but I was staying at this hotel one time in Nebraska in the middle of nowhere. And I wrote these jokes a while back and sometimes I'll reread it and I go, that doesn't sound like something I would say, but I'm going to do it anyway. I was staying at a hotel in Nebraska in the middle of nowhere, Nebraska. This was my joke. Turns out that's anywhere, Nebraska. You know what I mean? Okay. And I love Nebraska. I've been there several times. I have a great time every time. And but this hotel was in a real small town next to a slightly larger side of town. We can breeze through this. There's really just a short thing I'm trying to get to. And I booked far away. Oh, and I went to the front desk lady at the hotel and I asked her, because a lot of times when I'm in a new town, I want to get some local flavor. I want to know what kind of food they got going. So I said to her, are there any local restaurants around here. And she goes, yeah, she says, there's a Pizza Hut, a Subway, and a KC's. And I was like, what's KC's? She goes, it's a gas station. And turns out the word's Casey's. It's not KC's, it's Casey's. And then I said to her, I go, well, what about the next town over? And she said, oh, that'll be a much better choice, but you're going to have a hard time deciding because there's so many options. And I never had a good ending for that joke, but I just thought good decision-making skills could just blow this lady's mind. You know, I mean, she was like, I don't even bother with that town. Like, I'd hate for this lady to see Netflix. She needs the 3 DVDs on the shelf, and she can't have more than that because she's like, listen, this is for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then repeat. They can't deal with a lot of choices. And I used to call Atlanta Hot Atlanta because I thought everybody was doing that. Turns out nobody's doing that. And nobody calls it Hot Atlanta except for me. I was like, some people call it Nashville, Nash Vegas, but nobody cool calls it that. But now because of the hockey team, people will call it Smashville because I don't know, smashing has a lot to do with hockey, I guess. And they say, call it Smashville, right? So I'm just waiting for people to call it Smash Vegas. That's, I did that at a show one time and that did not go over well. And this has been a blast for me. I mean, I'm having such a good time. I mean, I've been alone and, okay. You guys ever quit a job? You put in a 2-week notice? It's a blast. 2-week notice. It's worth it to get the job just to put the 2-week notice in. That's where I get to say my favorite phrase at work, which is, I don't care. I'm about to quit. You know, it's a lot of power in those words. You know, your boss is like, hey, you know, you were late today, right? I'm like, hey, you know, I'm about to quit, right? And okay. Well, listen, even the videos began to drop off. And like one person is like still showing their support, but they're like, listen, I can't hold the phone. I'll be here, but I can't hold it. All right. Nancy's back. Nancy's
I've been here the whole time. I loved it.
Nick's
Same.
Nancy and John Novosad back. I'm happy to see your place, John. And if people don't know, for me and John, this is not a quarantine look for us. We haven't let ourselves go. This is how we always look. I don't know Nancy as well, so I can't say, but me and John, we look this way. Actually, John, that's a very nice shirt.
I gussied up.
Yeah. But I had a good time here. I'm hoping that everyone else did. I think when I started, we had a few more participants than we have now. So that never makes you. That means I walked people, and that doesn't.
It was dinner time. They had to get. I heard those dings. That was their microwave going off earlier.
The worst thing about walking people here is you don't even get to make fun of them as they leave. They just disappear. You don't get to. Oh, there's a partial head coming in, and all right, look at that. Put her to sleep. She's like, I'm just gonna lay down and listen to this. I gotta get a nap.
No, I should have had a laptop. It'd be easier to hold it up. Or I needed a standing station or something
You gotta
like
get
that.
a little standing station.
Yes. Oh, perfect. Yeah, what? That.
I'll let you
that.
borrow mine.
Pass it to the screen. There you
Yes,
go.
thank you. That's what I need. No, this was really good. It was funny. I enjoyed it.
But do you have any questions?
Yeah, let's take questions.
I know. I wanted questions or
Question.
answers. Do you have any answers?
Oh gosh. I don't think any answers, but I guess yes. What is your I guess you guys did talk about some quarantine tasks, but I'd be wondering like what your most fun like quarantine hobbies are, or if you have any new picked up hobbies in the quarantine.
I just want to say I found all the ping pong balls in my garage.
All right.
Yeah. I'm bowling now. I'm bowling a lot. No, I'm just kidding. I don't.
Nothing like share. I like to share a bowling ball during this time.
Yeah, for sure. That makes it exciting.
I put some bite-sized Reese cups into the ice maker of the freezer, and that way when I put my hand to get ice, it pops out Reese cups.
Oh,
I like that.
So that's a pretty good time. Ice,
kind of
but it's a good treat.
Like a Wonka ice maker.
Yeah, that's what I've been focusing on. You know, I'm just taking some time to focus on inventing.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to invent.
Did
Never
you
had
read
a good idea. I like to invent.
Me too.
I don't know if I mentioned it, but I've been bowling quite a bit.
Oh yeah.
Beating the joke that didn't work the first time.
Sometimes you got to do it. I mean,
That's the best.
You just
I
got
was
to
at a
make sure.
place. Let's see if you guys can clear this up. I was at a place the other day, and this older guy and his wife got up to leave, and they said to the table, while they were leaving, they were walking out, and a guy said to him, he goes, "Don't do anything I wouldn't do." And then the guy turns and goes, "Not on a bicycle." And then they all laugh, and I watched the couple walk away, and I watch as the table's laughter slowly dies down. What do you think that joke means?
I think that was like an inside joke with people that say in bed after they read their fortune.
My question is, were they wearing bicycle spandex and stuff or no?
The one guy looked for sure like he hasn't rode a bike in years.
Huh. So yeah, it's got to be an inside joke then.
Yeah.
I bet there was a banana seat involved.
There could be. You know what? I bet maybe they had just revealed that the older couple conceived one of the children there while on a bike. And I missed that part. That would have been a cool part to get in on. I mean, just to hear.
Yeah.
Not to participate.
With the high handlebars and the banana seat fertility clinic.
Yeah.
I just hope there was a bell involved, you know?
Yeah, you got to have a bell and some, I don't know. What do you call those strings that hang down?
Yeah, those little tassels.
Streamers, yeah.
Yeah.
Streamers, yeah.
Yeah, streamers. One time I painted my bike silver and green. I was going to be the Joker. This is when the first Batman came out. But I spray painted the handle grips, and they never dried. It was rubber. They never would dry.
Yeah.
The real mistake.
Always tacky and got that all
a lot of pine straw on it, you know.
You know, there's a trick when you get pine tar on your hands when you're camping. You grab a handful of dirt and rub it. Have you ever tried that? Just helpful hint from old Nance.
All right.
I haven't gotten. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, sorry.
No, I was just going to say I haven't gotten pine tar on my hands, but I will try that trick.
Yeah.
In other areas.
Anything really. Any kind of tar, I imagine you could put a little dirt on it.
Yeah, clean your hands with dirt. It's counterintuitive, but try it.
Maybe that's where the expression "rub a little dirt on it" comes from, and for some reason we started applying it to pain.
Good. Yeah, I like it.
You know, it was like, I have stuff on my hands. They're like, rub a little dirt on it. And then they're like, I broke my leg. And they're like, rub a little dirt on it. And you're like, that doesn't work for everything.
Yeah.
It didn't fix the tar, really. It's not going to fix the leg.
That's why I was a shitty nurse.
Yeah. You're like the rub a little dirt on it nurse. You're like, oh, you have Nurse Nancy tonight. And they're like, I'll just go home. I have dirt at home.
She's so strict with the opioids and the stool softener.
Yeah, I'm in here for some drugs and some comfort, not dirt. That's why they call her Mix Nancy. She's always mixing up dirt, getting it ready.
That was fun. That was my favorite part of the program.
It's been a hot show, and it really built up for the finale here at the end.
Miranda
thing took off. That's for sure.
Oh, like he has a son. He doesn't even have a son.
I think Miranda did have a question.
Miranda?
totally was going off to a chart joke because my dog Winston, he's not down here right now, but so the other day he's like out in the yard and comes in and like there's like stuff on his nose and he cannot stop sneezing. Well, we have pine trees in our backyard and he has pine tar like on his nose, so he just keeps sneezing. But now I know I'm just gonna go in our garden that's in the corner and just a whole thing of thing and just rub his little nose in it and it'll be perfectly fine.
Put a little dirt in it. Put a little
rub a little dirt on Winston's nose.
Think, was I not supposed to pee here? It'll confuse him.
Why am I being punished for this?
Yeah, he's like, I've been peeing outside. Now you're rubbing my face in the dirt. I don't understand this. You're doing it in the carpet, so I came out here. Where do you want me to go?
We can confuse your pet for you. That could be our specialty. That could be another invention.
Yeah.
Pet disorienters.
Yeah, I mean, confuse the pet. Keep him guessing. Keep him on his toes. What keeps him youthful?
That's right. We got your tailless rats.
Yeah.
I've
I got rats,
confused the
special
pet
rats,
too.
just for raising for snakes. They're $5 a piece. I'm just trying to get a pack of cigarettes.
Your house smells like rats and cigarettes.
Yeah, yeah. The rats are addicted. They need a cigarette. They're like, listen, I'm about to go get eat by a snake. At least you can do is let me have a couple of puffs.
I was born the year of the rat, so I really dug that material.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
Look at my face. You can kind of tell.
Yeah. I used to have some mice. I had mice. I never wanted to go full on rat, but I had some mice. I had a lot of them. You know, they get out of hand.
They
I
are
bought
quick.
two, a male and a female. Next thing I know, I have 14 aquariums, you know?
You know, I'm an animal rights person and I literally cannot kill the mice that come in my house, although I do let my dog kill them. I can't stop her. But I have a terrarium in my basement for the winter time until a nice day. Then I release them and I don't know what happens after that.
Wow. Well, that's the nicest thing I've ever heard.
Thank you.
I catch a
Codependent.
rat. I hold on to him for a while. Wait till the weather. I know he's just traveling and he needed a warm place for the night. Let me go ahead and hook him up. I'll put him in prison for the winter and then I'll let him go in the summer.
I do. I buy him a wheel and everything. And then I actually make a little fairy house out in the woods for him full of dog food. I'm insane.
Yeah.
I have a compassionate.
That rat gets picked up by a hawk later that summer. And that rat's like, listen, I know you're about to feed me to your family, but I got a story to tell you. I got to tell somebody this. You know those humans? One time I spent a winter with one. And she was very nice to me. And he rubbed a lot of dirt on me. I don't know what that was about. But
There it is. Full circle. We're done. That was good. Let's do it again someday.
that's a good time. This is great. I've had a great time here.
Thank you ever so much, Mr. Slay, for joining us. We really
Yeah,
greatly
thank you. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be here. All very funny people. This is a great show.
Yeah, it was super fun.
Maybe we can line up a show when you're actually physically here in Denver, and you can pop by on a Sunday and physically, be face to face with some of these.
Oh,
folks.
yeah. Well, I'm supposed to be there in, I think I'm supposed to do New Year's at Comedy Works South.
Oh,
So,
yay.
But,
That'll be fun.
yeah. So
I'm
hopefully.
gonna sign up. Work with you, Dusty.
Let's do it. I'd love that.
Nurse Nanny. We can do some
Yeah,
dirt rubbing material.
I've never had anybody really get into the rat jokes this way. And this has really been this is encouraging me to try the rat jokes again on stage.
Yes, do it. Rebirth the
thank you.
rats, the rat renaissance.
Because I write some jokes about my sister, and if the jokes aren't funny, it just seems like I'm being mean. But if I can get laughs, she doesn't care. She would love it. If they're getting laughs, she'll be like, "That's me." But if they're bombing, she's like, I'm not even related to that guy."
Yeah, I get it. I have a sister too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, thank you, nurses, for doing the job that I could not do. Thank you for risking your lives out there. I may clock in if it gets really bad, but let me tell you, if I clock in, the shit is bad.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for doing
Yeah,
that.
thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Made our week.
Bye, you guys.
Peace out.
Bye, John. Bye, guys.
Take care.
Thank
Bye.
you so
Great
much.
shirt.
This was really
Thanks for wearing
fun.
that shirt.
Nice to see you, Dusty.
hot
Nice to
shirt.
see everybody.
Love
Take
you all.
care.
Much
All right,
last
we're having a
love,
good time.
health.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
I won't leave first.
I won't either. I'm never leaving.
Okay. All right. There. John's like, all right, I'm out of here. I got some stuff to do. Right.
I don't even know how to leave. All right.
Thank you. We
Cool.
appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Oh my gosh. I love your children, Veronica.
Say bye. Bye.
Bye, buddy. Hope you enjoyed the show.
Aw. I sorry I said a couple of bad words. So cute.
Miss Minter. Till next time, young lady.
High five.
Put this one down. LaughCure Zoom in the books. Let's hope it's the only one we got to do, right?
Amen.
Get back to live. All right. Much love. If anybody has any follow-ups, please reach out to us.
Yeah, I might reach out and see what everybody thought about it and